Is Final Fantasy 15 worth playing in 2025? In my personal opinion, yes. As someone who played the game 3 separate times, I believe it is a great game to play. I know a lot of people gave it hard criticism for the lack of story, the lack of content, but over the years, it was actually still being worked on since 2017. I think that was 2018 actually. That was the last major update for this game where it just dropped a royal pack and it just gave you everything. The game contains more content, episodes, playable characters, and even a standalone. All of that into one big package, and I think it is definitely worth it. My playthrough for this year was actually the most fun I had with this game. Not only because I had played it on my PS5, but because it ran a little bit more smoother. It wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong. I still encountered some problems in the game, but it's not perfect. It didn't have to be. With the complete edition, the story kind of made up the whole game itself. I know back in 2016, that's when I got the game. I was still excited for it. It may not have been Versus 13, but I still had a good time with the game. One of the things that a lot of people would mention is how the gameplay is, and the gameplay is pretty easy. You just hold a single button and then you change directions for it. You can also use magic. You can also use other weapons. Now you can switch characters, which you couldn't do that back in the day. You could only play as Noctis, which it did suck because that's what in the previous trailers it looked like you can play the other 4 characters. But I still played the game all the way through just fine. By itself. I still thought it was a cool story. I know the fact that between the first couple of chapters, not much was really going on. It was pretty much straightforward, which I get. I understand why people would take that story was not all that good. But then we get to chapter 9. Now chapter 9 was actually where everything kind of just got all the more serious. And even with that little small detail, beforehand we got a little idea of when we were going to get other playable characters when Gladio took off during chapter 8. Now with that being said, that's when they came up with the episodes. The episodes filled the void perfectly because it showed what was going on between. Ignis is probably my favorite episode to play as because there was an alternate ending of what would happen if Ignis went to this other route to take. So the possibilities was the name of that alternate ending, but it was still so good because you got to play with different people. For example, when I first played the episode, episode Prompto, I didn't really like playing him as much. But now, playing him this year was absolutely insane. He does a lot of damage, with his weapon. If you play with him well enough, he's pretty good. So, I enjoyed playing the other characters. They were a lot of fun. And then they made episode Ardyn, which tied everything together. It made sense to what he did. He had a very reasonable, crash out, to be honest. I don't blame him for going the way he was. But even with that, he was never a villain in the first place. He got robbed for being king by his own brother, and his own brother killed the love of his life, and he had a valid crash out to go to the darkness. It was pretty bad. If you played the episode, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. His episode was actually really fun to play, playing as the villain in the game. I think that was a nice touch. And then, of course, they added the extra bonus finale. That last chapter, absolute cinema. It turned into a whole map, and there was additional fights. There was additional side quests. You actually got to see the aftermath of Comrades, which tied the stories together. It was just so good. Like, a lot of people gave 15 its criticism, but the fact that it made it this far and people still acknowledge Final Fantasy 15 to this day. I've seen people who be like, is it worth playing a couple years? Is it worth playing now? The answer is yes. If you haven't played this game, or if you're thinking about replaying this game, I highly recommend you do. The playthrough that I went through was a lot fun. It was, honestly, it was a roller coaster ride to replay it again, because it was kind of like, yeah, this happened way back then in 2016, and it looks good even today if you play it now. Like, it might not be the best Final Fantasy game out there, but it is worth playing again. So, pick it up. If you have New Game Plus, put it on New Game Plus and enjoy the story one more time.